What's going on? It's Volcano Beast Assembler King. You know where we at, live in the lab. Before you come in here though, wipe your feet, man. It's been raining and hurricanes and tornadoes and all type of stuff this week, man. So, but we live in the lab and we're gonna get into like my favorite things this week. Just a couple things. One tool that I recently copped, new interface. I had an interface, but it didn't work the way I needed it to, so I copped me another one. Ozone 11 Advanced. I finally put down the coins, got the newest version. I'm upset at myself because I should have grabbed it earlier. And last, the SSL LMC Plus. A little plug-in used for some little texture and little tone. So before we get into all that, do me a favor though. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Let's go. All right, first up on the list, the now irreplaceable Ozone 11, the advanced version. Like I say, I hesitated on this one. I didn't buy it when it first came out. I think it came out like 4 or 5 months ago. And I finally copped it. It was on sale. I told y'all, make sure y'all wait till it go on sale. It went on sale. I got the advanced version. I think it was like 80 bones. I got it, been using it since. And it's a couple modules in there that are, man, like chef kiss, man, it's nuts. Like, it's like 12 different. That's another thing too. Sometimes these new versions don't give you a whole lot. But this one gave us so much, I had to pick out only a couple things because I'd be sitting up here talking an hour about it if I didn't pick out a couple things. So the couple things that piqued my interest the most is 3 of them. The clarity module, that's the first thing. Let's just get into it. The clarity module, what's so cool about it is you can like do the mix and then add this clarity module. So all the frequencies and all the stuff you've been fighting throughout the mix, you throw this module on, then you can like basically, it's basic, what it really is, what I'm hearing from it is, I'm guessing is analyzing the music, analyzing it's just frequencies to Ozone at this point, just analyzing the frequencies and knowing like what we look for as humans as far as mixes, and it's just seeing what is lacking and then just pushing it. So man, it's like basically they just gave us like, I'm not a too shabby engineer myself, but like they just gave us a top engineer's ears. That's how it feels like. So man, it's like they just threw his or her ears into the plugin like, okay, cool. It's good, your mix okay, but let's bring it up a level. So yeah, I'm one of those people. I've been talking crazy about like a lot of this AI stuff, like, man, why we can't do it ourselves. But this right here, this is nuts, man, because I've had things that I've mixed and mastered, and when I got the final result, I was like, man, I wish the top end, I wish I got to go back and make the top end. But with this, it just, like I say, they say they use pink noise. I don't know how, but they say they use pink noise to analyze your frequencies, your song that you so-called mix. You thought it was done, and then you just boost those frequencies up. It's like night and day. It's not even the same thing, man. It's like I say, it's like they put muscles on your back, man. So yeah, that clarity module was the first thing that just jumped out at me. Second thing, the stem focus. That's nuts. So I'm going through this now. When I'm producing, it's hard when you produce because when you use subs. Because you want that sub, you want to feel those kicks and that bass. But if you put too much in there, now the beat sound like, you know what I'm saying, like a baby whisper. Like you get it out of the studio, it sound like a baby whisper. So like you like, man, I'm like, it was banging when I was making it. It was banging when I was mixing it. Why when I get in a car or give it to somebody, they like, yeah, it's okay. I'm like, what? You ain't hear those drums? And then you listen back, you like, man, that's whack, Joe. Like you listen on your headphones, you like, that's not even the same beat because like my sub is up a little bit too much. So I don't want to sacrifice the creativity that gives me when I'm producing. So using this stem focus thing to be able to, okay, the bass is lacking a little bit. Let's push this bass up. We listen to it, it's lacking. And you might have a decent mix. That's another thing too. Like sometimes we don't look at mixes as like it's like a meal. Like, yeah, you got the same ingredients, but a lot of times we may not mix it up exactly the same, especially if we go back into a mix, we like, man, only thing that mix was lacking was it just needed a little bit more low end. But you know how we are, we're going to start messing with stuff. We're going to start adding stuff. So this is dope because you can just throw it on the joint and then just, okay, cool, let's focus on the low end. Then we just mess with that and not mess with anything else. Cause I'm the type, man, if I gotta go back to the bass, I'm gonna mess with 20 things. Like, but if I just throw something on the master and start manipulating, then I just leave that alone and just print it back out and see how it sounds. So I'm one of those people that I would like for my room to be perfect. Like here, we more flat in this room. But my production room, nah, it's not flat. Like I got my subs cranked because I want to feel myself when I'm producing. I want to feel it. So I'm never going to have it even in that room. It's never going to work. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, I want to feel like the building about to fall when I'm making beats. So I'm always going to be compensating or not putting enough bass or low frequencies on my kicks and stuff, because if I really let them push out the way they really sound, I'll blow my sub. So this is perfect for me when I'm producing. Now, as far as mixing, I probably would like to just go back in and fix something like that when I'm like mixing a song, when I got all the tracks, all the vocals, everything. I probably would want to go back in. But me producing, oh no, I don't want to go back in, because the whole point is like, if I'm producing for like a brand or a website or something like that, they just want that 2-track a lot of the time. Or they might want the stems or whatever. It's the same thing if an artist. They gonna get it mixed, they gonna get the stems, whatever. I don't need to go back in. I'm just gonna make this sound as good as possible. That's really why I started using Ozone, man. I was at a conference in Major 7. He was talking about how he uses Ozone on all his beats, and I was like, this was like 6-7 years ago. I'm like, I never thought about using Ozone like that, just to make sure every beat is gonna bang and sound good. So that's like 75-80% of what I use Ozone for. I use it mixing and mastering, but that's about 75% of what I use Ozone for. So yeah, this focus to be able to just, okay, cool, everything was good, but my sense had a little bit too much high on it, so I could just focus in. They give you 3 options. It could be the vocals, the drums, and the bass. So you really can't focus too much on the sense too much. But well, then again, you can, because I'm getting into different genres of music, man. And the synths are kind of like the vocals in a lot of the, like when it's straight instrumental, no vocals and all that. So you can use that same type of thinking when you mixing that. So yeah, those 2 modules and the third one. The third one is the kicker, man. Like it's the imager, transient, like shaper, I guess, sustain. That's what they call it. So what's so cool about this is, you know, when you're using Ozone and you're using the imager, I probably use the imager on almost every beat, every song I mix, everything. But the problem with the imager is like the wider you make something, the less like, it ain't smacking you in the nose no more. Not anymore. Like with this, you can make something, space it out, make it wide, but you're not losing like what's in the middle. You keeping your transients. So that's what basically is. So you know, on a regular imager, you got the 4. You can put in 4 different zones, so you can give it 3 cutoff frequencies or whatever, so you can have 4 zones to work with. So what this does is, okay, cool, I'm the type that at 110, I cut it, and I'm cutting I'm bringing that down to negative, because I want my kick to punch in your face. But now I don't gotta do that as much, because with this transient shaper thing, I'm gonna keep my middle frequency. So I still push it down a little bit, but not as extreme as I was, because at the end of the day, me working and starting to work in different genres now, different electronic genres, like the bass is like the star sometimes, and it's not always a super low signal. Like sometimes the bass, like I've seen people add, and I've done it now, like adding choruses to bass and just to make it just super wide and fill it up. So if I'm doing stuff like that, this transient to be able to just keep my transients in the middle though and still punch you in the nose. Come on, man. Like this Ozone, like I say, what this new Ozone version, they gave us so much in here. I'm like I say, I always buy the new version. I buy it when it's on sale. I would have paid full price for this one, 100%, if I'd have saw exactly what it was gonna do to my productions when I got it. Yeah, this one of the best versions in the last 3 or 4, in my opinion. This Ozone 11, it's a monster. If you got it, upgraded. I paid $80. I know exactly what I paid, $80, and it was worth every penny. I got Ozone 10, I think I got it at the end of the run, so I can't even complain. I got this one at the beginning of the run, so I should have it a year before a new one come out, because they usually drop them like every year and a few months. So the new one may come out the beginning of 2025. So at least I have it for like a year. You know what I'm saying? And I complain about that sometimes, but sometimes when you think about it, if they add anything, that mean they working. Like, at least they not like rushing on their laurels and just like expect us to give them their money, give us their money, give them our money. Like, you know what I'm saying? They working. So, you know, I'm cynical. We all are, especially as music people. We cynical sometimes. Like, man, it's a new version every year, but you don't got to buy a new version, bro. Just keep your version. And that's what I was doing until like one of these videos caught me. I'm like, ugh. I was about to buy the regular one being cheap, but I'm like, nah, I just spring a $20 extra and just buy it. You know what I'm saying? Advanced, and I did. So yeah, Ozone 11 Advanced is a monster. Get it. All right, number 2 this week. I got a new interface, man. I thought my last interface had answered all my prayers, but it didn't. It's like when I started stretching it out and started making it do things, it didn't stand up to what I needed it to do. So I'm looking around. Everybody that know me know I was gonna get an Orion. It's $3,200 though. So that's the reason I didn't get it, because for one, I didn't need 32 inputs, and I didn't need 32 outputs. I just need 16 of each. So I love the Antelope interfaces. I had the ZenQ USB one. I probably should have never sold it, because I'm probably gonna buy another one before they go off sale. Idiot. I'm probably gonna buy another one because I want a portable device. Well, that's what I will say. I say, because the ZenQ is not exactly the most portable device. But anyway, I'm going into other tangent. The Orion Synergy Core, the Orion Studio Synergy Core. This is probably the best interface I've ever used. Sorry, Apollo. My Apollo back there, my Apollo 16. The Apollo 16 can't do some of the stuff this interface can do. So it's not even like comparable in my opinion. And you can use it the same way I use my Apollo if you're gonna do all the routing. What's so dope about this thing? It's not for a beginner. It's not for like the faint of heart. It's not for somebody who, like if you've never been on your back for 4 hours putting cables in, you're not gonna understand how cold this interface is. If you've been on the ground for 4 hours on your back, putting cables in and working under stages and working behind desks, if you've been doing that in your life, you understand how dope this interface is. You basically can patch any input to any output. It's that simple. Like, I believe they probably came up with the idea because of that flock. I was on the fence about one of those flocks too. I don't think I need it, even though this doesn't work in the exact same way, because the flock is kind of different. It's like you grab it and grab it. Like, you can put this mic to this preamp. You know what I'm saying? It don't work like that. But it kind of it's reminiscent of it. It's reminiscent of like when I first heard what the flock did. That's what this remind me of. When you open it up, it looked like an Excel spreadsheet. It's crazy, like all the different things you could just grab and move. It's crazy. Like right now, the craziest routing, it ain't even crazy. Like, it's 4 mixers that you can have in the software. So like, you know, on the Apollo, it's a mixer. But like on the Orion Studio, it's 4 mixers you can use for all different reasons. So my mixer 1 is just all my inputs. So I think you could put up to like 32 channels on each mixer too. I may be wrong. It may be more than that. But my first mixer is all my inputs. So it's got 12 analog inputs. That's what's on my first mixer. My second mixer is my ADAT inputs. It's got 2 ADAT in. So I got 16 there. My third mixer is all my outputs. So I don't have that output. What's so cool about it, and that sounds, let me backtrack. My third mixer got my 16 outputs. I don't have the master of the mixer so you can hear it out of the speakers, because obviously I'm just sending those outputs to other pieces of outboard gear. I'm sending those outputs to my Summon mixer. I got a Dangerous 2-bus LT, the older one. I don't need the newer one. the older one is better than Summon on the master bus on Ableton, so I don't care. Like, let me get that one for sale, man. Since y'all all geeked about the new one, I'll take the old one. So that's what I got, the Dangerous 2-bus LT. So that's my third mixer, and I haven't even found the use for my fourth mixer yet. When I start routing stuff from the software to start using the DSP on the mixer like I do in console, then I'll probably start using that fourth mixer. But what's dope about that third mixer is when I'm sending things out to the summon mixer, remember it's just mine, the LT don't have any faders, don't have nothing on it. So if I'm pushing, like let's say I got my bass coming out of my output 3, I don't want to change how it worked inside of Ableton, but when I'm coming back in, it might be like too loud or something. The bass might be hitting too hard. I could just bring it down inside of that mixer. That's why I said the master of that mixer is not going out of the speakers. It's just a mixer. So basically look at it like that mixer is just pre-fader sends or post-fader sends that's not going to the master. Just put it to it like that, like direct outs or whatever. So like I say, it can get complicated. It can get crazy. It took me like, when I first opened it up, 3 hours, dog, I was sitting there. And this somebody who had been using the Antelope for, I don't know, I've been using Antelope interfaces for like 6 years now. So this is not a new person to the Antelope atmosphere. Even though we got our Apollo at the studio, I've always had I had a discrete 4 at first, then I had the Zen Q. So I've been using, but the Orions and the Goliaths and all that, it's different things you can do on those softwares. It's not the same level. So they did put it on a discrete 8. I almost bought a discrete 8, but what made me not buy the discrete 8 is like, okay, this Orion Studio, the price did it because it's like a $3,300 interface, and it was on sale for like $2,400 right now on sale. Yeah, right. $2,400 for an interface is not a sale, but it had 12 preamps on it. That's what made me do it. And I still got 16 outputs because my whole thing is when I'm going to my summon mixer, I don't want outputs coming from my DAW, from just hardware outputs and then the digital outputs. Like that clocking thing, like I know we use clocks and all of that, but the texture is gonna be different. I worked at the now defunct, world famous Ivy Labs, and I remember we had Mothership, Burl on like 32 channels, and nobody ever went past 33 because it was like, what was on the channel 33? It was Apogee converters, 33 all the way up to like 56, and nobody wanted to use those. And you can hear the difference when you start plugging stuff in the channel. So not saying wasn't sounded better, they sounded different. So I didn't want for myself to be mixing and then coming out 1 through 8 of my regular line outputs and then using the ADAT. I didn't want to do that. So that's why I was on a hunt for interfaces that had a hardware 16 outputs. The Apollos got it. That Arturia I had got it. The Orions got 16 outputs. So it's a few interfaces out now that got 16, but they big boy interfaces. Like that's why I was so geeked about the Arturia, because it had big boy features, but it didn't have a super big boy price. It was only like $1,300. But my only gripes, I had 2 main gripes with the Arturia. Before I sold my Zen Q, I had both of them connected. I got a Dromer monitor control. I had input 1, Arturia, input 2 was the Antelope. They beat them. Man, that Antelope dusted that Arturia. I'm not even gonna lie. That Zen Q murdered it. Just the outputs, just the texture, the sound, the stereo image and everything. Like, and it was like 4 or 5 dB louder. I'm like, I had to, like the stink face, whatever they call it. I was salty because I had already sold it. Dude was waiting for it on Reverb, and I had already spent $1,300 on the Arturia. So I'm like, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna have to return the Arturia and grab this Orion now that's on sale. I got it for $800 less than what it usually was, and I can't be happier. The plugins and stuff is like an extra. I'm probably not even gonna use those. I had the Zen Q for years and didn't even really use yes I did. Because of the way I got it laid out now with all the extra inputs, my MPC will be inputs 1, 2, my MPC live, my main MPC. So I probably gonna pull up the same compressor settings that I had on my 2 channels on the Zen Q. So that's really the only plugins I'm gonna use, because I'm using they got like the Distressor clone and the Pool Tech clone that I put on the master of my MPC channels, and then just have those going in with like my texture I'm looking for. It's what I used to do. I've been doing it since, man, the 2500, 1000 days with my compressor and EQ setting. So sometimes people don't get to lessons with me long enough because I give MPC lessons. I've been giving MPC lessons for a long time. And they'll be like, why you all sounded? Well, if you let me teach you, you just wanted one lesson or 2 lessons so you can just learn how to use the machine. I'm going to teach you how to really master it if you keep coming, and I'll show you these like settings you can put on the master. It's easy to do now on the new ones. It's easy to conceptualize, but they had that on the older MPCs too. On the 1000 specifically, I used to love doing it on the 1000 because I'll pull it up and start banging beats. They're like, what drums you using? It's not just the drums. That's in my EQ and compressor settings too, but I'm gonna keep that to myself. So that's what I kind of do. I replicate, even though, you know, the live in the 1000, I think the pure tone of the 1000 sounds a little bit better. That's just me, I don't know. But so I'm always fighting to try to get some of that texture that I'm used to having on the older MPCs on the live. So yeah, that's what I do. That's the only like plugins I use from Antelope. But because of the time I bought it, they gave me every plugin for free. So you can't beat it. If you really like their plugins, or one day I may stop buying other plugins and just use the stuff I actually got. You know what I'm saying? A thought that should cross my head once in a while. But yeah, they gave like 90 plugins for free, which even if you say they plugins worth $20, it's like almost what the interface costs. So it was definitely worth it. It's a top-notch interface. It sounds great. Like I say, I was used to it punching me in the face a certain way, and the Arturia wasn't. It was kind of, I was talking about this with fam. I was like, it sounded wider, but why does it sound wider? Is it because the stereo image is off and it's phasey, it's weird? Like, I don't know why the Arturia sounded like that to me, but it did. It sounded kind of thin on the top end. I mean, on the low end too. So it was just little small stuff, man, and the other thing that kind of threw me off about the Arturia is, bro, it was no digital inputs and outputs on it. Like, you can't make an interface for over $1,000 with no SPDIF on it, fam, or no like AES. Come on, man. Like, so in my opinion, I felt offended because it's like, you didn't make this for pros, in my opinion. Because a pro gonna want to have, like, I just want to like TC electronic clarity. That ain't even none that's really expensive. But those hook up to the digital output on your interface. Just something small like that. Or if I was to give myself an A to D, D to A, because I am looking at one, I just wanted digital inputs and outputs for that, fam. Like a digital input for the A to D. I mean, yeah, A to D going back in after it go through all my texture on my rack. No digital, and then a digital output to go to my TC clarity that I'm gonna buy. So yeah, those things really aggravated me. I'm like, they didn't make this for pros, fam. They made this for like, I wouldn't say not for pros. Let me not say that, because that's like crapping on somebody. Cause like pro keyboardists, I could see them using it on tour, because all the stuff you can do inside of the routing on that thing was nasty too. So let me backtrack that. I don't think they made it for people who doing pro mixes, because it's little extras you want when you're doing pro mixes. And it didn't have it. It didn't have it. Like, it really ain't no other way to say it. The only good thing on that interface, I think it had multiple word clock outs, which was nice. That's one thing that I wish more like interfaces had. Multiple word clock outs, because it doesn't even matter. Like, word clock is one of those things where, like, it's just clocking everything together. Like, some clocks are better than others, yes. But even if it's like the clock that's not the best clock, everything is going to that clock. So that's gonna improve all the digital stuff you got connected to it. So that was dope that they had multiple word clock outputs. But yeah, the Orion, it only got one, but I'm gonna have to daisy him and figure it out. I don't really need any ADAT like that, no way, to be honest, because I got all my synths and everything on my patch bay now. I redid my studio. I got everything on my patch bay. So yeah, because I've been falling into like the thinking behind, like, I forgot it was this dude. He was like, I only got 2 real good channels. He had a room full of keyboards and synths, just like me, drum machines and synths. He like, only got 2 really great channels on my, so he had a whole 2 API 500 series racks full of phenomenal things, all paired. So we like, because I'm just gonna send every synth through one at a time, every drum machine through one at a time, and just make sure I don't have money or the space for a console, so I'm just gonna send everything through these 2 channels. So I'm coming under that thinking. So everything is normal to just come straight in. So if I'm on my Moog or something, I'm playing, I could just hear it, because I normal with my patch bay, but I can break that normal and go over to my 500 rack and start sending through stuff and then record it in. So I had to get a patch bay just for my synthesizers and drum machines. I got to get another one, to be honest. But yeah, the Orion, it just makes a lot of things I'm conceptualizing come true, because if I did want to not have to patch later and then just ADAT everything in, just normal everything to the ADAT inputs, I got 2 more ADAT inputs. I got 16 more inputs I can add to this thing. I only make beats at 48, so the fact that that ADATs can't really go past 48 is cutting it down in half, so the 8 channel is only gonna give you 4 if you wanna go past 48. I don't do anything past 48 when it comes to producing. So only time I go past 48 is when I'm in here. I go to 88 too. So me just producing at the crib, long as the ADAT can go 48, that means I get 16 more channels. So I'm gonna eventually buy another patch bay probably and just normal 2 more ADATs in, and then I'm just gonna have everything in the studio connected to it at once. So yeah, the Orion, I'm back home. I went away from Antelope for like 2 months. I had been using Antelope interfaces for like 6 or 7 years now. I think I bought my first one in like 2017-ish, a discrete 4. So yeah, I'm back home and I'm loving it. Orion Studio Synergy Core, man. Last on the list is the SSL LMC Plus. What is it? It's the Listen mic. They made a plug-in to replicate how they were using it back in the 80s to give that crazy drum sound. Everybody talk about Phil Collins. Everybody talk about the Era of the Night or whatever, those drums and stuff like that. That's how they got that sound with the Listen mic on the SSL console. So this plugin is cool. It's not for any practical uses. We got too many plugins for practical uses. This plugin is a special effect. Now I'm thinking about it, most SSL plugins are like practical use plugins. This is one of the only special effect ones they got. So this is a special effect. I've used it on like a whole beat to make it feel like more life. Lo-fi is like a filter on there. And Backtrack, it's so many features on there, you gotta download the demo. It's not like something I can even explain. Like, even the sound of it is something I can't explain. You gotta hear it, because it's like it sustains out drum sounds and cuts them off. It's crazy. It's just like it replicates like if you ever worked on a console. And so basically, I guess how they came about it, it must have been, and I'm not sure about it, but just like me knowing, having knowledge of studio stuff, it must have been a console that they didn't have the dim on when they hit the talk back. So because they didn't have the dim on, the sounds probably was still coming through, and it gave a crazy sound, and it was cutting it off when the engineer let go of the sound. And they probably heard it back in the control room through the main speakers or something, like, what is that? So that's probably how it happened. That's why my mind is wrapping around it. So you got to think about using it like that. It's not a plugin you just gonna put on your drum bus. Nah, because it's gonna make your drum bus sound totally different than what you was doing. So yeah, think about using it for like parts in a song. I've seen dudes use it for like toms, like some 80s stuff, like boo 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 boo, get them to sound bigger. So yeah, it's a dope plugin. I got it on sale on Plug-In Boutique for $17. That's lunch. So I eat crackers for one day to have this plug-in, feel me? So yeah, it's a nice plug-in. I've been using it. When it first came out, I demoed it, and it's one of those things where, man, like, I'm cheap when it comes to certain things. Like, I just bought a $2,400 interface, but I be mad. I don't want to spend $40 on plugins sometimes. That's just me, man. Like, I buy a $200 pair of shoes, and like somebody like it's just something small, I would not want to buy it. Like, if the sodas at the gas station is $3, man, please, I'm not buying no Coke for no $3. Boy, you crazy? So yeah, it's weird how it works, but it was a nice plugin when it came out. It's been out for like 2 years, but it went on sale like this past like 2 or 3 months. And anytime an SSL plugin, because their plugins are so top notch, I just buy them. So I might buy them and never use them, or don't use them for 6 months and forget. That's why I love Plugin Boutique. I buy everything off Plugin Boutique, because Plugin Boutique, as soon as you throw it in the cart, like, nope, you got it already, dog. What are you doing? And then you're like, damn, I already got this. So I do that a lot because they always have the free stuff. So a lot of times they may have a free thing that's like, man, I'll buy that free one. Let me buy this $30 plugin and get the free one too. So I got 2 plugins because that free one is worth more than this $30 I'm spending. So I bought a lot of stuff like that, and I forget I got it. I thought this LMC was one of them, but it it never came down in price. So if it don't come down in price, I'm probably not gonna buy it. So yeah, I'm the consistent person I'll probably buy an SSL plugin every 6 months when they put them on sale. I got the whole Fusion line. I got the I think I got the Flex Verb. I got everything. I got all the X plugins. I got them all. As soon as Plugin Boutique put them on sale, I buy them. Sometimes I listen to them, sometimes I don't. I just buy them immediately. I got the new G-Bus, all of that. So yeah, they make some of the best plugins, to be honest, man. If you want to do their little subscription, they one of the only subscriptions that I feel is worth it. It's worth it, but is it like compared to Plugin Alliance? Nah, it ain't. Or Waves? Nah. But if you looking for that SSL sound, yeah, and you get all their plugins for like $20, $25 a month, it's worth it, because if you really think about it, think about how many plugins I bought. I probably bought 2 years subscription worth of their plugins, to be honest. Like, I got at least like 20 of their plugins, so that's like 2 years, and I would have had everything they make. So yeah, the SSL LMC is dope to test it and see how you can use it in your productions, because I seen some dudes use it on like some vocals, on all type of crazy stuff. So I'm thinking about using it on drums in certain parts, like a breakdown of a song. You're trying to make things sound like you on stage and you listening from back there in the back of the room, how it would sound on the dude all the way in the back. You can do stuff like that with that LMC. So yeah, I'm looking at it more like a special effect. And I'm a carpenter. Like, even though I'm using Ozone sometimes, I'm a carpenter too. I like to, okay, if you add this, and you add this, you get that effect. So it's weird. Sometimes I want to put effects together, sometimes I don't. But when you got a tool like LMC, that makes me want to put them textures together and make my own little thing out of it. So yeah, LMC Plus by SSL. That's my third thing this week. Lastly, we got a bonus, all right? This week, I dropped my latest single, Swimming in Texture, man. It's a straight instrumental. Like I say, I'm trying new genres. I'm mostly a hip hop producer, done some soul stuff, done some housey stuff, soundtrack stuff, TV stuff. You know, I done a few things, but I'm experimenting with just instrumental genres, just trying to challenge myself other than like the hip hop that I'm used to making. So it's a dope single. It's on a few playlists already. It's a couple more that I need to get on some radio stations. I'm doing my thing, man. Like, you're starting to get a little traction. Just give it a listen. Let me know what you think about it. Comment. Let me know, man. I want to know genuinely. Like, I went on Submit Hub and a couple other places, and the feedback, I like the feedback they're giving me, man. Like, I don't like it. Okay, cool. Thank you. Because you can't please everybody. Like, that's the whole point. Like, yeah, the drums was whack. Okay, cool. So next time, I'm going to send you something that's going to punch you in the face. Like, that mean I got to make sure this thing, like, I'm going to punch harder next time. So that's how I look at it. So I really do want the feedback, man. Like, because like I say, I know it ain't whack. Just give me feedback. Tell me how you feel. If, like, a lot of people tell me a certain thing, then I got to listen. So yeah, let me know, man. Swimming in Texture. It's on all the streaming platforms. Listen to it here on YouTube, though, man. Like all that other stuff, like, even though we don't make money off none of it, at least on YouTube I could see how many people listen to it for real. Spotify be having me, I know 30 people that listen to a song and then it say 9 listens. Like, what are you talking about? So yeah, listen to it here on YouTube. The link right here, man. Swimming in Texture. Boom. Volcano Beats. We out of here. Peace.